slideshow, but we'll also send this out tomorrow through our various ways. And then the flyers that we already gave out to the kids. So really, the paper's only if you need something to look at.
While you're going through that.
While we're going. Yes. So, hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you here. So tonight we'll be talking about the New York City trip. We'll be kind of just overviewing everything, talking a little bit about what we'll be doing there, why you should come along with us, answer any questions, and kind of just go through all that. So the first thing, if you for some reason didn't see the dates, March 24th through 27th, 2027. So we'll leave, we don't have the exact itinerary yet, we'll get that closer to, but we would leave March 24th, early morning, return sometime Saturday, March 27th, late p.m. Fair warning ahead of time, the next day is Easter. Fair warning ahead of time, March 28th, that Sunday is Easter. And then you would be missing school on, Wednesday the 24th and Thursday the 25th. Those would be excused absences, so that's not going to count against your parent notes or anything because it's a school trip. So that would be the first part. And then, as you probably already know, the requirements to attend, if you're one of my band folks, either be in concert or symphonic band or be in the marching band. For drama, be an active thespian, which if you know what that is, you know what that means. And then for art, be a member of National Art Honor Society. And then also for school behavior, you need to, over the next school year, and I mean the last 5 days of school, 0 days of out-of-school suspension, and 0 days of in-school suspension. We would be amenable to, if that's an in-school suspension due to tardies, failure to serve detention, because sometimes kids honestly forget to go to detention, or their second cell phone violation. And one of the things with that cell phone stuff, obviously y'all know that the plan next year is it'll be no cell phones at all. And so we've been led to believe that they may change and possibly intensify some of the behavioral consequences for cell phone violations, since it's a zero tolerance policy. Because right now I think the second cell phone violation might be just like lunch detention or something.
We're not sure.
We're not exactly sure.
So we're not sure how that cell phone thing's going to look, but what we're saying is get in trouble once, but get in trouble twice, you knew better.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew better the first time too, but, so, yes.
And then if you breach any of those behavioral things, then you'll be immediately removed from the trip and you'll get refunded whatever it is that's owed to you at that time. All the policies and stuff for Creative Group Tours, which is the travel company that we're using. Band has used them before. If you came with me on the band trip to Universal Studios, it's the same travel company. I've been using Chris Plummer and his folks for a long, long time. This is not the same travel company we used last time for New York City, but band folks, we have used them before. I've known Chris Plummer since I started at Franklin County. He's been doing our fundraisers and all that stuff since then.
I'm sorry, and just to make it really clear, we are not responsible for refunding your money.
No, that's all handled.
We do not have that money, okay? So that is through their policy and based on what their policy is. You get OSS 3 days before we're supposed to leave, guess who's not going to New York? You're not, okay? So you just need to, I don't think we got that problem with these kids, but you need to know that that's the rule.
No, but something that happened when we last went on our Universal trip is we had one of my band students broke his hip 3 weeks before the trip. Poor Henry. Broke his hip 3 weeks before the trip and couldn't go. And so what they worked out, and we were able to work out then, there was no flights involved, so the details are definitely different for this, is somebody else bought his spot. Somebody who hadn't previously signed up for the trip paid the full amount to that family, and then they just took over. But with flights, obviously, that gets a little different.
And there is trip insurance that they
Yes, there is also trip insurance that we'll talk about a little bit later. So just with those first two important points right there, any questions about dates and requirements? Yeah.
For drama, there's a few of y'all here who are not active thespians yet. I just want to meet with y'all when the meeting's over to make sure you understand what would have to happen, because even if you start paying, if you don't become an active thespian, we can't go. So I just want to meet with y'all individually just to make sure we're clear on what needs to happen.
Yeah. And so then next thing is just going over the, where to go? How? Good? Nope. So the total cost is $19.99 per person, which yes, $2,000 is a lot of money, but as we'll go over here in just a second, those payments are broken up over 6 different payment times. But everything that's included in that is your airfare, 3 nights of hotel, breakfast every morning, except for the morning that we're actually going to the airport. But bus trip to and from the airport and to and from New York City, and then touring Upper and Lower Manhattan, going to Central Park, the 9/11 Museum, Grand Central Station, Wall Street, Trinity Church, going to a Broadway show, tour Radio City. You could read, you see the rest of that stuff. A question: how many of you have been to New York City before? Keep your hand up if you went with us the last time that we went. Okay, so we got a couple of second-time rounders. So if you've never been to New York City, some of the things that when I talked to my band kids who went last time, that they absolutely loved. Some of my kids had never gone on a plane before. How many of you have never gone on a flight before? Okay, so not a whole lot, but a couple of you. I've flown a lot. It's a very fun experience. It could definitely be a little nerve-wracking that first time. That's fair to say, but it's a lot of fun. Being in New York City is just a huge bunch of fun. I took this similar trip when I was in high school band back many years ago, a lot more hair ago. But what the kids really loved is all the exploring that we got to do. Because while we're on this trip, we're not riding a bus. We ride a bus into New York City to get us to the hotel, and then for 80–90% of the time, we're walking everywhere. So march band folks, you'll get your steps in, but you'll be fine. But what's nice about the walking is, one, it keeps the cost down because buses are expensive. But two, there was plenty of times where my group of me, Mrs. Sampson, Amber Haley, and Johnny Wynn, like we were just walking somewhere like, hey, let's go check out this food cart real quick. And then we would go do that, or we'd step into a store. So you've got a lot more intimate and personalized trip in a lot of the times.
And that's kind of what we kind of wanted, because in a way, I'm sure you'll agree, in a way we were busier the last time that we went. The previous time we went with the Dance and Pride, but last time it was like we didn't even have any time to even like go. My group didn't go in any like local restaurants or do
Hardly any
anything.
time for stores.
No, any kind of like stores, where I know some of y'all will laugh, whatever, but the little group that I had, just of a small group, they like kept me one morning, I swear it was 2 hours in the Disney store in Times Square. I'm like, can't y'all just go to Florida and go rather than be here in New York? But you just don't, when you're walking down a street and you see this really cool door that's, maybe been there since 1930, and it has, this knocker that looks like a lion's head. You don't see that if you're on a bus and things. And one of the things that we also want to mention to you is, especially for students, but especially for chaperones, it is a lot of walking. Okay, it is.
You cannot do it. You need to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It is a lot of walking, and the walking is the only way you're going to get to where you're going, and it has to be also done in a timely manner.
Now we had some groups that they didn't like, especially with parents, that didn't maybe they want to go or maybe go out a little bit. Now some of them rode the subway on their own, but that was like 4 or 5 people. Our tour guide last time, she said she would not even think about trying to get more than about probably 10 people.
And every parent's going to have kids
Yeah.
because kids cannot be on their own. So you have to just know that you can keep up.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that.
But anyway, some of the itinerary is not 100%. There's other things, like I would tell my art folks, whatever, and I don't know how it's going to work with band this time, but it's not listed. But we always go to the Museum of Modern Art, and we go up to the 5th floor and at least see some of those modern masters that you have seen in books, and even if you had art in elementary school or middle school, we at least do that. We're not going to the Met again this time. You about need 3 days just to go there yourself and spend it. So, speaking of the Met, did y'all see any of the stuff from the Met Gala last night?
So just kind of going over what every day looks like. So how we did this last time, and I imagine we'll do it pretty much the same, is you'll each be in little pods of between maybe 3 and 6 or 7, like students and parents. Like for me, last time it was myself, my wife, and then 2 of my band kids, so it was just 4 of us. And so that really helped us be very mobile and get to like get into stuff. And then you might have had a group of, 2 to 3 parents with 2 to 3 kids. I kind of, now that I have my own daughter, I really think about how many hands can I grab at one time. Stacy, I don't know how you do it. That's kind of the whole thing. We didn't have any security issues. A lot of people are like, oh, there's all this crime. The thing to understand, if you're maybe hesitant about it being this whole big city, is New York City wants the tourists there. So the touristy areas, which is where we're going, are really quite nice. Like, is there going to be trash and stuff? Yeah. But there was 0 issues of any sort of like safety, security stuff. So
And
that's
you got
a
cops everywhere.
there are literally
Yeah.
police everywhere.
I'll be honest with you, I feel safer in New York than I would in parts of Anderson or even Athens.
Especially the
now.
malls. Yeah. So speaking of the payments, so that $19.99 is split up over 6 payments, as you can see there. The first payment is due June 1st, and then it's basically every other month for the most part. So you can, instead of $350 every other month, you could really think of it as about $175 each month is kind of how it's broken up. We just do the payments every 2 months.
And if I gave you this paper copy, it's just change that May to June 1st.
Yes, yeah. When we had originally planned this out, we had talked May, and then as all our schedules realigned, we decided that June 1st was going to be the best day for that first payment. And again, those payments are not going to be made to us. For my band folks, you're not going to be making those out the same way you make out your band fee payments. It's going to all go through this system that I'm going to go over here in just a few minutes.
Quick question.
Yeah.
It says registration deadline is November 15th. So what if will it pay, do you have to pay all that back at that time, or will they split that up over the last 3 payments?
I'm not actually 100% sure with that. I think it's really, if there was anybody who maybe wanted to join late, the last day for new people would be
that.
November 15th. I think
Right,
that's
what I'm saying, like if you waited until then.
yes, then you would have to,
You have to pay that lump sum that
Yeah,
was
that-
due prior to
So
that
it
at that moment.
restructured
Yes.
it.
right, yeah, it would be that, what was that, $1,400?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be that $1,400 there, boom,
Yeah.
at one time.
And I guess they could just pay, if they wanted to pay every month a certain amount, they could.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the online portal system is set up, and again, I'll go through, because they sent us the slideshow that explains everything on how to do it. I think there's a way to actually just set up like recurring payments like you do for some of your bills and that kind of stuff, where that would make it quite easy.
And there's this slideshow here, and it does go over exactly how to do all that.
Yeah, which is the
And-
slideshow I'm going to go
Yeah.
to here.
And we're gonna put it on the info.
Yes, we're going to put all that. Okay. So with go. So this is how you sign up for travel. Now with students, you can go if your student is going to qualify based on the things that we just showed right here. You can go ahead and register students. For parents, if you're whatever is your adult teacher person, just talk to them first. We just want to make sure that we're aligning there in terms of that. So parents, just talk to if you're like, hey, I want a chaperone, just talk to one of us that's your area person first. So how to do it, it's really quite simple. Yeah, okay, so there's that. So you'll get the trip URL, that QR code is on that sheet that we've already passed out. And again, we'll send it up. Signing up for it is really easy. Your payment right there, as it says. You can pay a deposit. You can do ACH, direct deposit. You can pay by credit debit, and I think there's a third way to
You can do a check, and they have that form. and
Yes, you
send
can
a
also
check.
mail checks in if that's what you would prefer. So you set up your payment plan. They just kind of pull a random one from when they took a Disney trip for a different group. You'll sign all the documentation, sign your life away, firstborn child, that kind of thing. That's also where we'll go over the cancellation policy, which I'm going to jump back real quick and just show you that cancellation policy. Should be right in here. Yes. I just want to do this blue highlight. So cancellation policy, all cancellations must be made in writing. If it's made inside of 90 days from departure, so 3 3 months before we leave. You'll be refunded anything minus the fees from suppliers or vendors and a 20% service charge. 91 or more days away from departure, full refund minus whatever any fees are assessed already by suppliers or vendors. So I mean, I would imagine if you have to cancel more than 3 months out, you're going to get the vast majority of your money back. There will probably be some things that are non-refundable, like anything. And if for some reason we have to cancel the entire group, that's just all their policy stuff in there. And then travel insurance, we'll also talk about for a moment here. So you can read, but in short, they highly, highly recommend travel insurance because obviously you never know what can happen. Like I talked about our student Henry who broke his hip, and luckily we were able to get somebody to just swap in there. So it's got all the details on that. They partnered with it. As I recall, when you go onto the portal to register your student, it's pretty much like, hey, if you're wanting to do the travel insurance, click here, and then it'll like route you to that proper page to kind of look into that. But yeah, so they've got the details in there. Jumping back. So participant information, that's just where you're going to put in your student's information, all that stuff, and then you're going to make your payments on that screen. You'll get the confirmation of your payment, as well as any frequently asked questions and that kind of stuff. It's a very, very straightforward process. If you've never registered for a group trip using any sort of service like this, it's really quite straightforward. They want to make it as easy as possible because we want you to go on the trip. We want you to have a great time, experience this with all your friends and loved ones and that kind of stuff. So some frequently asked questions from the company that parents and students typically give to them. How do you log into your booking? You'll go to the website, createagrouptours.wetravel.com. You'll enter your email address, and then you'll get a sign-in link to your email address. What if you need to cancel? Send it in writing to their email address. Are there any additional fees? So for any transaction less than $120, the fee is $1.50. For over $120, it's 1% plus 30 cents because everything always has a fee because that's how it works. For credit card, it's a transaction fee plus the 2.9 or 3.9 if you do an American Express. If you're paying via direct deposit, that transaction fee listed above, that 150 or 1% plus 30 still applies. So even if you're doing direct deposit, there's still a fee. I would imagine there's no fee if you're mailing them a check because you're paying postage. But it doesn't specify that. That would just be my general understanding with that. Am I able to get a refund if I don't go? Again, that kind of goes over that same stuff I talked about. It can take up to 5 days to process your refund, as much as 10 days, just depending. Travel insurance, it talks about there, and yeah, you can do travel insurance right there from the portal, where you do all of those things. How do you make your next payment? Right there, pay installments. Again, it's really, really quite simple. And we will send you this, I'll send you the PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides because nobody really uses PowerPoint anymore. And if you need to update your participant information, I don't really know why you would. There's that. Now, the other thing that's cool that they set up, that they have on this system, is you can set up a contribution page. If grandma out in Arkansas wants to help pay for Sally's trip, you can basically create, for lack of a better phrase, a GoFundMe page that you can send to your family and loved ones that who want to who want to help pay for the trip in some part. There's a way to do that, and again, it is quite simple. So if grandma wants to put in some money, if auntie, whoever, godmother, godfather, that kind of stuff. I missed the registration line. How can I still go on the trip? You could join the wait list, and then that will contact the company and contact us, and then we'll see if that, like that November 15th date we talked about, right? If you still want to join, we'll make sure that still works. If not, that's just joining the wait list. That's not putting a single dollar in. That's just saying, hey, I missed that original deadline. Is it too late for me to come along? What all is included? That's in that trip description we just talked about, airfare and all that kind of stuff. And I believe also it covers a couple of meals, not just the breakfast. It was 3 meals as well. So I know what I had for 1 or 2 of my students last time, if the parent maybe didn't trust their kid, did not spend all their money in the first gift shop that they went into. I can distinctly remember I had one parent give me like 3 20s and said, hey, can you give Billy a 20 on the first day, 20 20 on the second day and a 20 on the third day for lunchtime. That's certainly something that we could look at if that's something that you think your student might need. But I also know now they have those like debit cards that you control from an app, and you can just like preload money into it each day. So that might also be something to consider.
Here, here.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They use
Parent
till
controls.
on the ones when they go on the EF tours.
Mhm.
It's like one you sign up for and it's free,
Okay.
and the parent can like add stuff daily as it.
Gotcha. That's cool. I didn't know about that. So, and then if you need to contact Creative Group Tours for other questions that you're having to deal with the money and the registration, that's really them. So the way that we kind of split up the responsibilities is if you have questions about can your child go, does your child qualify to go, what's going on the trip, that's really a question for us. If you have a question about I'm struggling with the website, or I don't understand this payment, or hey, I need to pay like 3-4 days late, that stuff you send to them. We are not going to touch a single dollar that you are paying towards the trip. Now, the only other thing that we've tentatively talked about is potentially having some fundraisers to help pay down those costs for the trip. We're still figuring out exactly if and how we want to do that, because I know for my band folks, we know with our booster organization, our 501c3, we run into some stuff with that. But that is something that we're looking into, as well as having multiple fundraisers over the course of the year that would help whittle down those payments as much as we can try to help you with. So yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything we needed to cover.
I don't think the community understands what a chore it is, the way we have to deal with our business office and different things, and
Yeah.
so it's so anyway, so it's, that's why we like not have handling the money.
Yeah, it's also just less liability on us.
We have asked, of course we don't know, but we've asked to possibly see if we could get a flight out of Greenville. Don't know if that'll happen, but anyway, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get there. But it's always a great trip. There's Lake Charity. I mean, we've always had the last 2 times that we've been, it's been a great experience, and
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you've never gone on a school trip, this is a great one to start with. But some of the things, like, I mean, when those kids come back, because the other thing that we intentionally plan too is this trip is before spring break. So you will still get your entire spring break. And I'll be honest, some of that is like on us because I love y'all, but this is still work for me. So I'd rather not work on my spring break as much as I love y'all. But it's a great time when the kids come back, they're just talking about it, and they talk about it nonstop for the following year. I mean, as soon as we announced this trip was going on, all my seniors were like, wait, you're going again and we can't go this time because we're graduating? You suck. Like,
Can we chaperone?
yeah, can we chaperone? No, you can't chaperone. You're 18 and a month year old. No, you can't chaperone.
Yeah, we do need to, there is a limit on how many can go.
Yes, I want to say it's 50-something. Because that's usually what fits on a charter bus.
Is it 50? I think it's 48.
you think 48?
It's somewhere right in
I
there.
think yeah.
I don't remember
it's
exactly.
48.
So it is kind of first come, first serve in that way.
And
But-
that might be why you would be put on a waiting list.
Exactly.
If we already have filled up a bus, we can't, your trip's gonna cost more
Right.
to have to get a second bus for just a couple of people, so.
And I think our minimum is somewhere in like the upper 20s. I don't remember exactly, because we went over all these details as a department like a couple weeks ago, and there's been a lot of stuff going on. So there's that. Yes.
When will you know which Broadway show you're gonna go to?
I have requested that we go to the Outsiders. So that's what I have requested. I will request that about once a month, just to remind him that that's the one we wanna go to. And I don't see why we couldn't get in. I mean, it's touring now, it's not, I mean, I think we should be able to get in, you know, and hopefully, I mean, he said he would try to get us in the show we wanted. Hopefully it won't be like the first year we went.
Yeah. because I didn't go the first time because I was not here yet. The last time we got to see Hadestown and Wicked,
Yeah.
which were they were both so good. They were both so awesome. But yeah, it's an awesome trip. It is for a lot of you. It will probably be one of your most memorable experiences of high school in a great way. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than you should go. And for all of your other friends in one of our organizations that isn't in this room right now, whether you're at the band concert today or you're in class tomorrow, go tell them, hey, this New York trip sounds fun. You need to come along with us because it is going to be a tremendous amount of fun.
And he was mentioning the art museum, band and theater will be doing a backstage tour of is it the Metropolitan
It's the
Opera
Metropolitan
House?
Opera.
Okay. We will not be doing the Broadway workshop where you learn the dance and all of that kind of stuff. We just kind of felt like this was more suitable for everybody. Not everybody wants to go in and learn a dance routine,
But we also did get to meet a Rockette last year.
We did, and we are doing
Or last time.
we are doing that tour.
We are doing that tour,
this
so
time
we
too.
invite
So if
Yeah.
we don't meet one, I'm gonna say something. Be like, look, the last time we were here, so what's up?
Yeah. Cool. Does anybody have any questions for the good of the group, other than individual questions you might have about your family and your child? 6 o'clock-ish, so we're still doing good.
So do we wanna just divide up real quick? Or like if you're a theater person and you have questions for me, we can hang right here. Got questions for
if you've
Kevin?
So if you've
Over
got
there.
questions for your specific area person, you can come up. Other than that, we will send out all these things that we just talked about. We'll send them out to you in some way, shape, or form in the next 48 hours or so, just so that way you all got all that information. So thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And you should stay for the band concert. It starts at